Morning. Good morning. Good morning. You had a big win? Okay. IXI, Corey? Nice. That's a good windfall. The AIC moving. We're pretty long ways to the highs. All the way up here. 26. See a little bit of continuation from the previous day's candle. Descending resistance works on this. This is our fourth leading gainer. Other than that, we've got WWVIP, but it's a little bit too expensive. Wineries and distilleries. AIXI. I drew a wedge on, which I'm not entirely sure is accurate. The ascending support on this is, but I'm not sure about the descending resistance. The EM. Moving again. The previous high was there. Got a lot of dispersed attention this morning, it seems like. Morning, Momentum Trader. Morning, Drew. Laba. So I am unsure what to focus on right now. Morning, Sinos. We have 7 a.m. news with this. Tentative agreement to sell its Neuro stake. Doesn't seem like it has any volume. Yeah, we've got so much dispersed attention here that it's difficult to focus on anything in particular. Oh, looks like level there. Morning, Illusion. So the plan for today is get anything fresh or we get anything actually moving quickly. We are going to strike. Yesterday was pretty bad, honestly. Going back and looking at the VOD, how many opportunities I passed up. I only took 1 out of like 6. Granted, I was trying to get some confidence back from the previous week, but it doesn't really excuse our passing up on so many opportunities, being that picky. I think I could have been a little bit less picky. We'll see. If we get something fresh today, I'll do my best not to hesitate on it. Morning, Scrungus. I thought this was done. $4. A very long pullback. Morning, human. Morning, Tig. Yeah, good luck to you too. Morning, no FOMO. We seem to be getting bought up off of the 9 EMA consistently here. This is the third time. The 5,000 share bidder. $8,000 share bidders. Yeah, it's hard to trust the bidders. They were refreshing at 365 there for a moment, and then they just pulled away. Now there's a 10,000 share bidder at 57. 55. What are they doing? What's up, Jesus? Yeah, I don't have a choice because I have a job. So right after I finish trading, I go work my job for the rest of the day. But um, my strategy is mainly pre-market as a result. I would try some market open strategies if I had the time available. And maybe I would come back for after hours trading. There is some detriment to trading all day, though, in that your focus can only last so long before you start messing up. And as well, when your focus starts slipping, your disciplines start slipping a little bit too. I would say that I managed to overcome FOMO and not, and holding and hoping. I always cut my losses. Very rare for me to FOMO into trades. What I'm dealing with is fear of loss. So it's actually taking opportunities is the emotional trading part that I still am dealing with. But part of that also comes down to um, my inexperience. I've only been trading for 12 months. Sometimes, charts are different in their own ways all the time. Every single chart is unique. So if there's something particularly different about them, and then it gives me pause. If every chart was the same all the time, I'd have no problem pressing the button every single time. The issue is that I have to overcome that fear of being wrong when there's one thing about the chart that may say no, but the probability of the trade is positive. What signs am I considering? Well, I've been doing very poorly on curling patterns. In general, I'm not very good at them. But for right now, the signs that I'm looking for to take a curling trade would be an obvious pivot level. Um, so for example, if this becomes a pivot level now, if it pops up and rejects, I mean, resistance probably isn't going to be relevant. If this rejects and then comes back up, then if it breaks the pivot level, then it has a potential to squeeze back up to the highs. Or like an obvious wedge with MACD about to curl positive, or it breaks the wedge. It's a double top. Apply. So we're on the backside of a big sell-off from OFAL from back here. Which is a bit of a problem for me to want to trade this. Relative volume is lower. Not have any fresh news. Thank you, Jesus. So yeah, signs for curling pattern for me are like wedges, pivot levels, and I'm my entries on them are generally either the break of the wedge or break of the pivot. Stop is break back into the wedge or break down of the pivot or low of the pullback near the pivot. I trade on Trade Zero Pro. When it breaks 4, you mean DAIC, Tunis? I'm guessing. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured too here. I feel like DAIC, like I drew this ascending support here, and now we have some descending resistance between these tops. I'm thinking that eventually this is going to come back up and break. Because now this is an obvious pivot level of 4. It is our 4th leading gainer. So we'll see what happens with this. I'm an accountant. I have a bachelor's in business administration, the major in accounting. Yeah, they're really tricky to trade because we're trading them during a consolidation period. So what we don't want to do is buy the consolidation on the backside of a big move, in my opinion. I mean, some people buy dips off VWAP and they work, but I don't really know anything about them. It's not a part of my setups. But for me, I don't want to trade them during the consolidation period. I want to trade it after it's finished consolidating and it's looking to break trend and move back up. So that's why I recently introduced the descending and ascending resistance and support into my curling patterns to try and identify what the trend is doing so that I can understand like which way it's trending. It'll give me a bit of a higher likelihood of being on the right side as it's moving up instead of getting in on false breakouts. VCIG recent reverse split. Did I see Amix? ENMG? No, I didn't. Did Amix make a big move? Yeah, from 5 all the way up to 16. That's crazy. What was it doing on the 1 minute? Holding the 9 EMA pretty well. This was really light volume. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I went up to 16 on really light volume. ENMG. Yeah, I don't trade penny stocks. I don't trade sub $1 stocks. And the news headline doesn't seem that great. Granted continued NASDAQ listing. I think I'm good. No, I haven't traded options. Up Doom. Lots of random dispersed attention. No, I built them. Some of them were built with a little bit of help from another friend, Eli. I don't know where Eli's gone. I haven't seen him posting his recaps or anything. But most of them were built on my own here with my own color scheme and stuff. Uh, that was just my MS Teams. Oh, he's trying DOS Trader. Oh, you are here. What's up, Eli? Really busy switching my setup. Okay. Yeah, I've normally been watching your recaps, and I didn't see them. I'm like, oh, where'd he go? But okay, that's cool. Who would I recommend to learn trading from? What is the book that I would recommend? Well, if it, there's very few resources out there for trading, unfortunately. So the only resource, and the one that I learned from, is Ross Cameron at Warrior Trading. He's the one that I primarily took my strategy from. He posts a lot of free content on his YouTube. There's another YouTuber though, Lance Spreetstein, who's a verified trader in Market Wizards, that he posts a lot of YouTube content. He does more large cap trading, I think. I think he has courses and stuff too, but I don't know like what the quality of those courses are. I've never really looked into it, but yeah, he's a verified trader, I think, with because he's in the Market Wizards book recently. SMB Capital, I think, is also pretty good. They're a prop firm, so they do a lot of trading during regular market hours and stuff. There's a few different resources. It depends on the strategy you want to trade, but I would be careful generally with the sources you learn from. Make sure that they're verified. I know that Doom is also learning from what's his name? Momentum. His YouTube channel is Momentum, but I think his name is Kev. I think some people have said that he is also pretty decent. I've never verified if Kev is profitable. I only know what I've heard from other people, but he seemed solid when I looked at him. 12 months. Basically count down at the end of each month, pretty much. So at the end of August, it'll be 13 months here when it reaches September. You doing the free week? Okay, that's cool. Right here, I mean, we're sort of breaking this trend. We've got some increased volume. I'm just watching this, so it's a little bit cheaper. And I'm not familiar with buying trend breaks all the way down here. And we also have some potential ascending resistance now. So the area to buy on this would have been around 144, maybe like stop at 140. Or maybe like after this forms a pullback. Not sure. It's 7:30, so let's see if we get news. SWVL, 13 million strategic investment. Price at the market. $200 EMA is up at $2. Yeah, I'm still pretty much considered a beginner. I'm still planning to go long. But I might eventually try shorting pre-market only. But that's a long ways away. That's only if I can hang around all day. Because my plan for shorting, according to what I've heard from some short sellers, would extend into regular market hours. I can't do that. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure how that would work. Yeah, I'm still not sure about shorting because I don't want to be shorting regular market hours either. This is gaining a little bit of momentum. It broke the 200 moving average. Let's see if it holds $2. Nope. Stock prices I like to trade. The sweet spot for me is in between $5 and $10, but I will allow myself to trade in between $1 and $20 usually. Yeah, that's what puts me off of short selling too. But there are some risk management strategies that you can take. Like you would have to make sure that you take a share size so small that the only theoretical way for you to get margin called is if the stock went up, you know, 30 points and you didn't cover, which would be extremely, extremely rare as long as you're not shorting good news. Like if you're shorting FDA announcements and stuff, then you're eventually going to get smoked. But theoretically, I mean, shorting pre-market, you should always be able to cover. And as long as you don't average up with huge size to eventually get margin called, then you theoretically shouldn't blow up your account. But it is still scary. And it's definitely not something recommended for beginner traders. Traders who don't have discipline, like the only reason I would even consider it is because I have discipline enough to follow risk management. So we're kind of grinding up here. So that high was 229. but we broke below that 200 moving average again. If you get caught in halt news, then you'd be very, very unlucky. I'd be extraordinarily unlucky. I tried to take a position, it popped too fast. Damn. We'll take a starter, stop of 240. Take a little bit of profit up here at 3. Pretty far pullback. See if it retests 3. I'll take a little bit more profit. We're stalling out, it feels like. Size down a little bit more. Well, that candle's about 258. Just get out the rest as it breaks down. Break even. I tried to take a position as it broke 229, but it popped so fast that it just ripped straight past my 100 share order at 270. Or what was it? It was 230. I think I did at 227 or something like that. That was sad. So it stopped me out and now it's going back up. I was 312. This could be just a bear flag, I'm not sure. Double top. Morning, Feeny. We got SWVL moving. Unfortunately, I missed that big pop because my limit order didn't fill. Morning, Rafi. Try to work on catching dips too. Yeah. Oh, you mean the dip off of VWAP? Hmm. Maybe. It's not really a setup of mine. I don't have much experience buying dips off of VWAP. I don't know if I buy a dip off of it, if it's just gonna go lower or if it's gonna rip back up. The high was 312. Well, that pullback is about 297. Couple of topping tails there, which I don't really like, but 1 minute micro pullback. $334. That was 346. All right, I'll take a starter. Stop of 312 as we get bought back up off of that level. The stop will be about 310, which is a breakdown of that 312 level. Looking for the pop back up to and just get stopped out. I saw it get bought back up there. So I touched 312 and then I got bought back up. So I thought that we were going to close this candle and then pop back up to 350. Just didn't happen. Yeah, so the high of this candle is 315, but we're breaking down now. Good morning, Goku. Getting bought back up off of the 9 EMA. False break. Hmm. Good morning, Branson. Like he's about to cross over. What is my best day for making money? I don't remember. I think it was 160 something, 180 something. Yeah, all the topping tails. Sometimes it's the same for me. Yeah, not sure about that. Sending resistance or sending support. I feel like the 5 minute usually takes precedence with multi-time frame alignment. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't need to be exact. Everyone draws these ascending and descending resistance line differently. So it's more like, it's got a couple cents of range. Like I could very slightly adjust this, maybe. I mean, that would be fine. So 10 seconds left on that 5 minute candle with a high of 318. So we might buy first 5 minute candle to make a new high. I know MACD is still negative here. Big seller up there. We're testing out these trend lines, I suppose. Does break. Draw it on the daily and then switch to the 10-second chart. Yeah, you mean the daily resistance levels, right? I have my lines show up on all my charts no matter where I draw them. Yeah. My I mean, one of the issues that I had with the embedded trading view engine in Day Trade Dash was that when you drew on a chart, sometimes they wouldn't carry over to other charts, like side charts and stuff. Kind of annoying, but thanks, Jesus. I see AIXI popping up there, kind of bouncing off that VWAP and maybe ascending support. Pretty far below the highs though. So we're breaking the trend line. Maybe I'm looking at above 320 potentially. MACD's still negative. .30 seconds left on that 5-minute candle. Looking for volume confirmation. Okay, we're coming back up. I see Archon popping up. Field Production Information System Integration Project. I'm not sure. More interested in SWVL right now. Never mind. This is starting to move. $42. Really big ranges. $100% already. Wow. That's crazy. My level 2 looks like it's updating in like 20-30 cent increments. It's moving like a $10 stock. Low is 670. We're kind of extended off of the 9. Yeah, it's got big spreads and it's moving in big increments. It Good morning. Low is 620. Or 630. Yeah, like if I get in here for first candle make a new high, the low is all the way down at 630. That's a long stop away. Hmm. The law of the 10-second candle that broke the high. Well, I know the idea of first candle making new high. It's one of Ross's main ideas, but the problem that I have with that is usually when that happens, it spikes up 10 cents and then you're down like you're up 50 cents from support. So where do you set your stop? Why not just mental stop at the risk price? Well, mental stops are great and all, but sometimes you really get smoked when you do that, or at least when I did that in the past, because I used to use first candle make a new high as a rule for a long time. And sometimes short sellers like shorting off of first candle to make a new high. And especially on stocks that move this quickly, for example, right? Like let's look at where first candle to make a new high is. Like some of these ranges, for example, 503 to 421, you got an 80-cent range. Sometimes when you enter on first candle make a new high, like if I enter 5 and it gets shorted, it can go down like 50 cents, sometimes 60, 70 cents really, really fast. You have to trade with small enough share size that you don't get smoked. Like the trade-off between buying first candle make a new high versus buying as the candle is forming, like closer to support, is that you can take a little bit more share size when you're closer to support because then you're not risking as much. Whereas if you buy first candle make a new high, your nearest support is 80 cents or $1 share per away, so you have to take smaller size or risk getting just absolutely murdered if you jump in on a false breakout. It's kind of a trade-off, and it's a difficult one to choose. Ross doesn't really buy first candle to make a new high anymore, though. He's usually anticipating first candle to make a new high. That's what he usually does. He waits for a pullback and then he buys it kind of like in between as he gets confirmation of green on the tape. Because usually when he takes his position, he is first candle to make a new high. He buys halfway in between and then he buys 60,000 shares and it pops it up. For us as beginner traders, usually when we're getting in first candle to make a new high, most of the time, most of us, I'm not going to say all of us because some of us are very, very fast. But most of us, if we wait for visual confirmation of first candle to make a new high, we press the button, by the time our order goes through and everyone else sends their orders, This stock has spiked up 20 or 30 cents. And so we're in not only higher than support, we're also getting in 30 or 20 or 30 cents after everyone else has already sent their orders. Like we're kind of bag holding for Ross at that point. For example, if he buys 60,000 shares in between first candle to make a new high and the low of the pullback, spikes up, we buy on that spike, and you know, everyone else is jumping in, but sometimes those first candle to make a new high don't always work. So we're getting in 50 cents, 60 cents, a dollar per share away from support. Makes it very easy for price to move against us if it does move against us. That's my opinion, but this sort of balance between where to enter and where to set your stops is why a lot of traders fail trading Ross's strategy, in my opinion, because it takes an incredible amount of discipline. Like if you do buy first candle to make a new high and set a mental stop, and a very fast reaction speed, because like I said, if you're regularly buying a dollar per share or like 50 cents, 60 cents on stocks like this away from support, there will come a time where if you're not fast enough, you're going to get absolutely smoked. And it's happened to me several times. That's why I'm that's why I'm so picky about my entries, is because I want to create a strategy that works off of Ross's framework, but is also safe. Like it's, maybe that's not ever gonna be realized. I don't know, but ideally, I want to buy as close to support as I can. I don't like taking that risk. Yeah, maybe it's not possible. Maybe I just need to accept the risk. I don't know, but those are my feelings about it right now, is that it's just very, very tough to find a balance. Whenever I've bought first candle to make a new high in the past, I found that my green days ended up being smaller than my red days, because my green days would be filled with, um, you know, capturing a smaller part of the move. Since I'm buying confirmation, you have to pay a price for confirmation. And I would have a bunch of green days because I was buying confirmation. And then eventually I would have a really big red day, right? And get in on a false breakout that immediately drops 50 cents a share, 75 cents a share, sometimes even a dollar a share, very, very fast. So buying the confirmation where it spikes up 20 cents and you're getting in somewhere halfway in between the move with your stop very far away from support made it difficult to have bigger green days than red days. Going to be some descending resistance here, I think. DAIC. I'm using Charts Watcher. PRZO with 8:18 a.m. news. Broke that 200 moving average. Some resistance at 118. Yeah, 25 million share float. I think that if we master small caps, we can also master swing trading. I'm not sure. I think swing trading is kind of a different beast than small caps, isn't it? It requires more fundamental analysis and stuff. In swing trading, you gotta have the balls to hold it for a couple of days or a few days. Some people might be staring at their phones 24/7, feeling schizophrenic. The stock's gonna suddenly reverse and go all the way to zero. ESP options? No, I haven't. Oh, you got a pie from the sky, Martin. Yeah, that's what I figured. A momentum trader. I think they're two different two different beasts. Like, just because I'm good at small caps, I wouldn't say that I would be able to go trade large caps right now. And I wouldn't even say I'm good at small caps. I just mean, like, if I were good at small caps, probably go and lose money in large caps or swing trading. I'd probably buy something and then hold it for 3 days and come back and realize, hey, this thing just went to zero. Where'd all my money go? DAIC is getting closer to filling this wedge. Kind of crazy that Archon did a full round trip. Archon did a full round trip. What was the other stock? I think the other stock did a full round trip too, SWVL. Yeah, almost. Short seller heyday. $8.19. Yeah, that's because it was bought into this descending resistance. I wouldn't really call this a jackknife, but it's a little bit nasty. What I'm hoping for with this is that it comes down, bounces off this ascending support, then we go sideways as the wedge is closing, and then we break VWAP and break through this wedge again. And then we go higher. Pretty far below the highs though. The only other problem. But it's still our fourth leading gainer. I normally start trading at 7 a.m. Eastern time. For about 12 months, Hollywood. Going on 13 months in September. AIXI. I mean, this has been holding this ascending support. Let me adjust this line a little bit, maybe. Probably about right. But I don't see any obvious pivot here. Suppose that is 3 tabs. I do it like that. If NGR is locate too expensive, I'm not sure. I don't do any short selling, so I'm not familiar with the locate prices and stuff. Hey, Nestor. I don't know. I don't have his stream pulled up on this side. Maybe there's someone else in chat that knows. watching this EAIC for this potential first 5-minute candle will make a new high. It actually can break this pivot level. Doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah, I normally would too, but I'm experimenting with these trend breaks. Trying to get in earlier before the party is over. We've been trading for 5 years on whistles. Yeah, a bit higher risk reward, or a bit lower risk reward. I mean, I guess on DAIC. Usually if I want to know what my percentage accuracy on a specific setup is, I would tag it in my trade review when I go back and I do my review. I haven't gotten that far yet, though. That's what I feel like happens to me when I buy the dips. They just go lower. Yeah, $3, not the end of the world. We can make it back. We just gotta believe. Believe in the curls. Come on. DAIC, AIXI, you can do it. Or maybe we get something fresh at 9 a.m. Who knows? I doubt it though. It's always obvious in hindsight. At the time, price is moving. Sometimes it's not so obvious. Especially because sometimes price can move at the last second before the candle finishes closing. Spike up 50 cents, and suddenly the chart looks really good. Whereas in the moment, it didn't look so good. I always feel the same way when I go back and I look at my VODs. Like, why didn't I take a position on that? What is wrong with me? I'm probably going to say the same thing today about Archon, but Archon, well, I did try to take that first spike on SWVL actually with 100 shares. If I had gotten filled, that would have been a great trade. My second trade on SWVL ended up being smaller than maybe it should have been because I held for too long until it topped out my last half shares for 7 cents. But probably an Archon, it was trading like a high price stock. It had 20-cent spreads and dollar per share range. I'm still very uncertain about trading stocks that whip around that much because it's hard for me to get in and set a good stop. We got a little bit of volume coming into DIAC. MACD's still negative. I'll take a position. Top is going to be 360. Yeah, we'll make it 360, which is the low of that pullback. We're going to be patient. We're buying a curl, so this is going to take a little bit of time. First profit target is going to be maybe like 395, closer to 4. See if it can come back up here. It's just 50 shares since this isn't kind of a trade that I'm familiar with. Otherwise, I might have taken 100 shares, but Let it curl back up. Take a little bit of profit for big topping tail. I'm going to take half actually because of that huge topping tail. See, if we break down 390, I'll take the rest. So I'm going to move my stop up to 390, which is just below the low of the pullback here. High of this candle was 427. All right, just take the rest. Kind of a tweezer top with higher volume selling. Not a bad trade, 20 cents a profit on that. I was hoping, I mean, it is pretty far below the high, so it's kind of hard to expect it to just like absolutely squeeze all the way up to 6, but so there's our um first trend break win. Broke the descending resistance line very quickly with volume. I noticed that it on the 10-second here, you can actually see it retesting this trend line. And then I bought for the break of the 369 pivot level. I could have, but we don't really know what the stock is going to do, right? This is kind of the way that I think about taking profits is that we have no idea what the stock is going to do. Like we can try to draw some conclusions based on the past behavior, but until there's an exit indicator, there's no reason for me to exit the position. Probably, maybe I could have considered this a tweezer top earlier and sold as it came back down. Like it didn't really exactly retest the 427, but it did pop up again and then reject. So I probably could have taken more up at 4, yeah. So maybe I lost 20 cents on 20 shares. I agree with that. But the way that I think about it is that I try not to take profits until there is an exit indicator. My exit indicators are double top, high volume selling candle, MACD turns negative, shooting star candle, and or a big seller on the level 2. That's like in the way and refreshing. Those are my exit indicators. So based on my exit indicators, yeah, maybe I should have exited around like 410. on that tweezer top. But other than that, there's usually no reason for me to sell until I see one of those things, because it could just keep going up and up and up. Yeah, I do use hotkeys. I have two sets of hotkeys. I have order setups and like buy immediately. Order setups and order sends. Most of the time I try to use order setups. But sometimes I'll just hotkey in immediately with an order send. Northeast? Yeah, I'm from Ontario, Canada. I mean, what kind of a candle is that? 290 all the way down to 220. How quickly did this happen? The chart. 290 down to 260. A little bit of a jackknife, but these kind of feel like out of sync charts. Like the trend line works well in the 5 minute here, but the 1 minute we're above the trend line. Kind of odd. When the red candle dipped below my entry. Yeah, I set my stop at 360. I said nope, that's where my stop is. If we're playing the long game, we gotta play the long game. Uh, congrats 0.9900. Yeah, it's 0.005 per share above 100 shares. Otherwise, it's a flat fee below 100 shares. So the flat fee I think was 49 cents per order. So yeah, it would be about $1 in and out below 100 shares. And then above 100 shares, yeah, it's 0.005. I don't think they're coupled though. Like it's not $1 per transaction and 100 share, like 0.005 per share. I think it's like one or the other, right? Either the flat fee or you're paying the per share order. So that trade on DAIC probably was a trade that I could have taken 100 shares on. And like if I get more confidence in these trend break patterns in the future, I mean, my stop was only 15 cents away. So 15 cents of risk for 100 shares is acceptable. It's really too bad that my order. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my VOD. I was watching SWVL for that first pop where I had my 100 share order. I was like waiting because I didn't want to miss another opportunity today. So as soon as I saw it spike, I punched the button, but it just zipped right past me. I want to see how many cents per share it popped. I don't know if Ross took anything. I'd have to look. He probably did. He probably took one of them. Public service announcement though. I've been getting messages from people informing me that there's still a scammer going around pretending to be me with my name and icon. So I made a scam and fake account channel in the Discord just to let me know like how to report them and stuff. It's really pathetic that I already have to deal with this when I only have 600 subscribers. Like I'm a nobody, and there's still scammers that I have to deal with. Kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I reported the last one. The last one got banned, and there's another one now. Probably just made a new account. Well, let me open up Ross's stream. We'll see if you got any trades in. It's just gonna make me it's just gonna make me sad when I look at it, but uh, what's that? Oh, he's red. What happened? He's green in his small account though, but he's red in his main account. He got smoked on GRML. I don't even know what stock that is. It wasn't even moving that I've seen. Must have gotten in back here or something. But he's green in his small account at least, so he's up 10 grand in his small account, but in his bigger account he's down 6 grand. Morning, Jaden. I'm better than him today? No, I wouldn't say that. I might have been if I had gotten that first order on SWVL that just didn't fill, but that popped up really fast. I would have been up like $100. No, he didn't trade DAIC. He didn't even trade SWVL. Mix. Have a good one, HSM. Sorry to hear about the rough morning for you. Have a good one, Illusion. Green $10. Nice. Yeah, see you tomorrow. What did he trade in his small account? Oh, in his small account, he did trade DAIC. So he traded, in his small account, he traded DAIC, GRML, and RCON. He took a big fat loss in GRML in his small account, but he got 17 grand on Archon in his small account, and then just a small profit in DAIC. So fat win on Archon, fat loss on GRML, basically. Have a good one, Stone Whistle. Yeah, I think, well, let me look at Archon again. I really have trouble trading stocks that have such whippy price action, like dollar per share ranges. I think this very first pullback probably was the easiest entry. That dip off of the 9 EMA and VWAP as it came back up. Everywhere else, it didn't feel so good. Maybe right here was fine too, but yeah. It always makes me nervous though. Like look at the range on this. 560 pulls back to 420. It's like a dollar 30, dollar 40 share range. And the candle itself had an 80-cent range. The first candle to make a new high was like risking a dollar a share almost. If I had set my stop to the low of the pullback, like I could have gotten in at 5 and set the stop breakout or bailout. Could have done that. Maybe that's what I'll have to do for these higher price stocks. Bit smaller size. Or higher range stocks, I'll call them. What is this? GITS? The 200 moving average is at 215. Did I not click that? 215. I was up there. Room to 3. Credit spreads and SPX? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, the issue I have with AIXI is that it's cheaper and we're gonna have a couple levels of ascending resistance here. We have this previous level of ascending support that is now resistance. We have this previous level of ascending resistance that became support and then is now resistance again. And it's a cheaper stock, so it's gonna move slow, and we're pretty far below the highs. I don't know about this curl. Yeah, if it breaks 163, then maybe it at least has room up to 180. It is our second leading gainer as well. SPX ODTE. I don't see SPX anywhere in my scans. No, then I don't really pay attention to the indexes. I don't really like AMIX because the high is all the way up at 16. We're really far below the highs. AMIX also has been selling off from this previous move back here on August 4th. The relative volume is extremely low on it because it's more on the backside of a after hours move. So I think it's a no trade stock for me. I am watching SWVL though. It did sell off like that, but got some ascending support. And this now obvious descending resistance line. I'm gonna guess that this is probably gonna halt up at the open. Not financial advice, but Just a guess. If this continues holding this ascending support trend line. Because this kind of looks like a inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? Potentially. What's most important, getting the right entry or managing risk? They kind of go hand in hand. You can't manage your risk if your entries are not, what's the word? They're not purposeful, right? If you're taking a position, then it needs to be with intent, and you set your stop either as you're taking the position or before you get in the position. They kind of go together, shoulder to shoulder. So I'm watching this curl. The right entry would have been closer to the, like after this retest. So this kind of retested that level and then continued to break the descending resistance. I'm a little bit late to the entry here, but if it continues to break through 250 and then curl back through VWAP, then this could be confirmation for reverse head and shoulders, I'm thinking, maybe. But we're very close to market open as well, 8 minutes away. Morning, Tex. Yeah, there was a few opportunities today. All right, we're getting bought up with some volume confirmation there. Hmm. Yeah, I don't really like buying so close to market open. The only thing that I don't like. Better entry would have been down here at 230 for the break of the trend line, break and hold of the trend line when it retested around 233. And would feel a bit safer about holding into market open, but morning, Wilkin. What do I think about the TZ1 platform? That's the web-based platform, right? I haven't tested it, um, so I can't really say. I do have a bit of a bias against web-based platforms, though, for execution, since it could be subject to a little bit of web latency compared to a regular application-based broker. So I'm sure it's fine, but I don't really know what the execution speed on it is on average. Probably, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be a little bit slower than Trade Zero Pro. But yeah, I can't really say otherwise. I've not really tested it. Our wedding anniversary. Yeah, I guess he did trade GRML. Don't know why. You used TZ1 and then the API direct. Yeah, I pay a $50 sub for Trade Zero Pro, and I pay for my scanners as well, of course, and my charting. Oh, does it not have hotkey support? Yeah, if it doesn't have hotkey support, then it would be a no go for me. If I had a better broker that doesn't lag at market open, then I actually probably would consider buying for the breakthrough VWAP or on this, but it is riskier as well. All right, market open in 5 seconds. See what happens with this. AIXI getting a pop, DAIC getting a pop. Looks like this one's just selling off. Let's put WVL on a side chart. I'm watching this. Got a couple of topping tails. I did break through that pivot level of 427. A lot of nastiness. That's interesting. It ended up holding. Hmm. AIXI halting down. Just don't like how many topping tails are on this thing. Seems choppy to me. Not moving clean. First 5-minute candle to make a new high is above 250. Okay, we got some volume. Do we break 250? We got bought back up off of that ascending support trend line once again. What does it do here? If it breaks 250, I'm going to look for the buy for the breakthrough VWAP, I think. It just depends. Does it hold here? Does it break down? What does it do? It seems like it's not holding. And yeah, I see is holding 427, but in fact, he's negative on it now with a tweezer top on the 5-minute. And this looks like it's breaking down here. Have a good one, Tack. Green is good. Oh, is AIXI halted down again? Yeah, unfortunate. There's 25 seconds left to that 5-minute candle close. It's kind of closing as a 5-minute bull flag pattern, but it's got a tweezer top topping tail and then descending resistance up at 5. $25,000 share seller in the way. Have a good one, Devin. Sorry to hear about the oh no, you got a green day. Everyone's going red in the Relentless Trading Discord. Yeah. Definitely doesn't seem very clean, these moves. EAIC broke down that 427 level. I was hoping SWVL would break through VWAP. That one looked like the best opportunity for inverse head and shoulders pattern if it broke through VWAP. It could still later in the day, but can't really wait all day for it. And it just did a big rejection off of that 250 level. This one, I mean, it's a no news stock. It's gonna be hard to predict what it's gonna do. Have a good one, momentum trader. Hmm. See you tomorrow, crazed. I mean, maybe this is another way of drawing ascending support here. That's only a 2-point. This is probably better. Thanks, Enos. Have a good workout. You too, Jaden. I'll be off to work soon too, probably. Have a good one. A bit too extended from the 9 EMA there. Yeah, it felt like maybe if it was holding that high of day long enough, that it would end up squeezing on a kind of a bull flag pattern. Yeah, just didn't end up working. I think I did hold a little bit too long on both SWVL and DAIC. Probably could have scalped out an extra 20 cents on DAIC, selling at like 410 on the other half of my shares. And then SWVL, I held until it was a 7-cent loss in my other half of shares. Whereas I think I could have sold up at 270. Could have been a little bit better day today, I think. Oh, nice job, small wins. $250. Have a good one, Grace. Yeah, this just keeps going lower and lower. I don't think this is holding support in SWVL anymore. I think it's just selling off. And DAIC, going sideways. It's possible that later on in the day, this could end up closing this wedge, maybe if it consolidates long enough and it breaks through 5 or breaks through the wedge. I wish I could stick around for longer in the day, but I have to get going in a few minutes here. AMIX moving a little bit. I think I shouldn't touch this one though. Maybe a lot of bag holders on it. All right, have a good one, Tig. Yeah, definitely doing better than me at market open. I find it really whippy at market open. Wow, 679. Awesome. All right, I think I gotta shut it down now. I don't think I can wait any longer for anything to happen here. I was thinking about maybe DAIC over 460 or maybe later in the day if I could stick around, break the wedge, but I gotta get to work, unfortunately. So 594 green day, probably eaten up by commissions a little bit. So maybe a break even day, we'll call it. But good luck to everyone who continues to trade today. It seems like this week has been a bit hotter than last week, considering the moves that we've seen today and on the stock yesterday. So maybe we'll have some more opportunities tomorrow and Thursday. So as long as we don't continue, even with just these tiny green days, eventually we keep having fresh moves, I'll catch one of them, right? Hopefully. But for right now, it doesn't seem like there's anything worth trading. So I'm gonna hop off here. Have a good one, Tex. Good one, everyone. I'll be back at it again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern time, as per usual. Till then, take care. Stay green. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, Goku.